Hey guys, what's going on? This is DJ coming to you, talking to you guys about the new NASCAR season this year. A lot of things happened over the off season. A bunch of us guys decided to get together, and it's something we've always wanted to do, and we figured we'd just have you guys come along with us. Basically, the idea is that we're just kind of sitting on the couch hanging out with y'all, and that we just want to kind of bring you guys into that conversation, because sometimes they get crazy, sometimes they're boring, but they're always entertaining every way you look at it. So with that being said, I'm going to pass it over to my buddy Matt, and take it away.
Hey, my name is Matthew. I'm just here for the speed.
So we figured it would be a good idea to introduce ourselves, seeing as how this is our first show. So as I said, my name is DJ. I've been a fan of NASCAR for probably the last 5-7 years, somewhere in that range. My first race was the Coke Zero 400 in 2014. Back when you could actually go up to the fence and actually almost touch the cars as they drove by. That was a lot of fun. So I've been, following NASCAR since then. And we got a bunch of different guys here. I'm going to go ahead and throw it over to them so they can start introducing themselves.
Yeah, my name is Jacob. I've been watching racing for getting close to 30 years. My dad was always a Dale Earnhardt Sr. fan.
God.
And so when Junior started racing when I was like 8 or 9, I started, rooting for Junior, and kind of just natural for me to root for Junior when Dad rooted for Senior, and rooted for Junior for a long time. And now I'm really kind of a Hendrick Motorsports fan, but I kind of have drivers across the series, and some I don't like, some I do like.
I think that can be said of everybody.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah, I'm Jeff, and I've been watching racing since Jimmy's rookie season. So it's been quite a while. It's been most of my life. I'm 26, so that's spans most of my life. And my very first race that I ever went to was the 2007 Pepsi 400 when Jamie McMurray won the race. And I am also, obviously, like I said, I'm a Jimmy fan, and I'm a Hendrick fan as a whole. And yeah, so that's my NASCAR background. And I'll pass it over to Matt.
Hey, everybody. My name is Matthew. Quick
It's
synopsis.
the speed guy.
Yeah, I'm just here for the speed.
You got to tell that story.
Yeah,
You got to tell that story.
we got it.
So, starting off, obviously,
We'll get
I'm going
to
to be a big Brad Keselowski fan, so I may be a little biased on my side here. But Brad's great. I think he's great. Love everything he does. Love his whole team. Everything.
Perfect.
But ideally, around our name here, the need for speed was for my first race. We were over at the Daytona International Speedway, and oddly enough, we were in the merchandise area. And at the time, I had no idea anything about the sport. I haven't even seen a race before, and I was there for the truck race. I want to say it was the 2015 truck race.
Yeah.
When, who was it? Oh my God, was it Bell who won it?
Christopher Bell, who flipped.
Christopher Bell.
Oh,
flipped,
yeah.
But there was another big winner. Oh, I can't remember who won it. 2015 truck race. Someone let me know. But anyway,
DJ's looking it up.
we were there, and one of the very nice ladies up front there, we were buying merchandise. I was just getting generic Daytona gear because I had no idea. And she was like, "Oh, who's your favorite driver?" And I said, "I'm gonna be honest, I'm just here for the speed." So that's the whole inspiration around her name. That's what we're here for.
That's awesome.
We have plenty of friends.
I believe it was Tyler Reddick.
Tyler Reddick. Tyler Reddick. So Tyler Reddick won the race. But obviously, we cheer for a numerous amount of drivers in our fan league here. We really can't hate on anyone, but we have people we like more than others.
Well, no, that's not true. There is a few that we.
I mean, I'm gonna be as unbiased as I can. But if it's Brad, I'm gonna be for Brad.
It all comes down to the fact that it's the four of us, and we have other friends that'll occasionally pop in and do this with us.
Mm-hmm.
But man, we just love racing. We've been obviously this weekend we've been watching the Rolex on and off all weekend. But we just love racing, and we just NASCAR is our main go-to. We get together every weekend, and we're like
for the Clash.
Yes, sir. 1 week out.
Yeah, the
One
Clash.
week out.
1 week out.
Clash is coming up. Yeah, for sure. We're all pretty excited about that.
We've been told by all our friends and stuff that we should take our conversations and put it out there, because I guess somebody thinks we're fun to listen to.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if we're that entertaining, but I mean, if we've had it come from multiple sources, so
It's got to be true.
usually it's got to be at least partially true.
Yeah, our biggest thing, man, we just want to take our vibe and take our hangout and just put it out there and share it with everybody else.
Yeah, exactly.
So with that, man, let's get it started. Let's talk about season predictions. Talk about last year, this year, and just kind of hash it out. I mean, last year, obviously, we saw Penske started to clash off strong, kind of disappeared there for a while, but ultimately
they played the long game.
They played the long game.
They did.
They won the most important race at the end.
Yeah.
And
And the most important race at the beginning of the year.
Was the only race
Start how you finish.
No, Austin Cindric won the 500.
Oh, okay, you mean that? Okay, I was just saying in general, like the first.
Homeboy won me $1,000.
It was the only thing he won the whole year.
Yeah, honestly. So let's talk about that. I was shocked that he struggled as much as he did. I thought with the new car, he would have been. I thought he would have been way more on an even playing field. But it seemed like he really struggled more than some of the others.
The thing that surprised me with him was he really impressed me specifically at, I think it was Coda, when it was in the rain.
Remember? Oh yeah, that was ridiculous.
In the rain on slicks and was outrunning people on wet tires. Like.
Yeah.
Bro, like, dude can drive. So I'm thinking, once he gets on a level playing field, gets in some good equipment and everything like that, like, dude, this dude's going to be something. And then didn't really do anything.
Just didn't really play out like that.
No, I mean, you look at him and even like Briscoe. Like, Briscoe was the same kind of thing, but Briscoe ended up doing quite well at the end of the year when it mattered. But Cindric he couldn't put it together.
Snuck his way through.
Yeah. Hey,
shout out to Concussion for helping out there.
That cost him a lot to get those points.
Yeah, right.
That was an expensive 2 points he got out of that.
No, if we're gonna talk about season predictions, though, I mean, the second half, or maybe even the second quarter of last quarter of the season last year. I mean, the story was all Ross Chastain, though.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
not be.
It's hard to not talk about that guy making it to the Final Four on a team that's it was their second year.
Yeah.
Second year and first year with two cars. That's pretty crazy to think about. And, his desire to win, kind of seems to outweigh everyone else's,
I think
what he's willing to do to win.
You see things like the wall ride, cutting the shortcut at Indy. Wrecking the hammer. I mean, you see things that, it kind of gives you that vibe. He's willing to really risk it all. I mean, he's 10th, 15th, whatever, mid-pack.
Oh, yeah.
At Indianapolis at the road course, and he just sends it, trying to make something work.
So the thing I liked about that was I love the fact that it was a matter of he literally in interviews has come out and said, like, if I look at the situation, if I look at that turn, there's no way I'm coming out the other side winning that.
Right, there was no way.
He's like
6 wide on turn one.
If I go try to turn right, I'm not coming out the other side okay.
No.
So why not try something weird? I love that.
I
love
too,
it.
Man. It's funny.
He's made me a fan, man. I love Chastain.
So my dad, being an Earnhardt fan forever, obviously when Earnhardt died, he basically kind of faded out of the sport. But then Ross Chastain, I mean, he says it reminds him so much of Earnhardt because he just does stuff everybody thinks of, but they don't have the balls or the gusto to do it,
They weren't listening to Freebird on the radio inside the car.
I guess.
All right. So let's circle back to Phoenix, the last race. Mm-hmm. He got to second.
Yeah.
Chastain within 5 more laps.
He was catching
was
up.
a viable contender to win that race.
Sure.
See, I don't know, though, because with the dirty air, I don't know if he ever would have got there. But still the fact, in his first year with Trackhouse, with the new car, a really new team, to run second in the championship. And it wasn't a maybe. I mean, the wall ride put him in there, but then he ran a good championship race.
He ran it good. He ran it clean.
Yeah. He honestly
Besides, I think the one incident
pretty solid the whole time.
He had an incident with, I want to say it was...
everyone.
No, but at Phoenix.
It was a pretty long list.
At Phoenix, he was trying to cut someone. I think it was, I want to say it was Elliott.
It was Elliott. Well, Elliott came down and Ross didn't move.
He didn't lift. Yeah. Again, probably a tactic he learned from Brad, but that's fine.
I was saying, that's why you like it, huh?
Textbook Brad, right?
How can you lift?
Keselowski.
How could you expect someone to lift while they're racing for a win?
But on the real, though, I mean, being how good he did last year...
Mm-hmm.
I mean, learning all the stuff they did with that new car and all this and that, I mean, it's hard to not pick him as a contender for this year's championship.
Yeah.
as a whole.
I
And I guess we're a
I
little
think
biased.
he's gonna be the wild card.
For sure.
For
I
sure.
think we're all a little biased because he's the local Florida boy. How do you not reach
Yeah.
for the? How do you not root for that guy?
Yeah,
As Florida boys.
our group lives not far from their family farm. Couple hours drive, so yeah.
I don't
he's
even know
definitely
if it's
our
that
local
far,
driver.
but
Probably not.
yeah, it's we can't not root for the guy. We've been rooting for him since he was in trucks.
All right, so let's kind of jump forward to this season predictions, hot takes. Just who do you think is going to be successful and who do you think is going to struggle?
Oh, I said
DJ.
before even. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, who do I think?
Yeah, just hot takes.
Who do I think is going to be successful? I think Kyle Busch is going to be a lot better than he was last year.
Really?
Yeah.
I do. I think the reset. I think there was a lot last year with Kyle Busch, a lot weighing on his shoulders, and a lot of just in general negativity around him.
No, I feel
Yeah.
And I feel like now it's a fresh start. Now he's got a little bit of a chip on his shoulder to prove to
I
Joe
agree.
Gibbs, like, hey, look what you missed. But on the contrast to that, not to try to change it, is Tyler Reddick has that same kind of mentality now with Richard Childers and with 2311. So I think the one I think is probably Kyle Busch. I think is going to be good. Reddick was already doing good, so I don't think we're going to have to see anything there. Who do I think is going to struggle though? I don't know. I think probably any of the SHR cars. They still don't seem to be having it together yet. And Harvick doesn't. I mean, I know it's his last season, retiring and everything, but ever since his new car has come out, he hasn't had it. He hasn't been the same.
I mean, he did go back to back with wins. Granted, they were mid-season.
Yeah.
He kind of pulled them out of nowhere, but he did go back to back for at least 2 wins for the year. He struggled at a lot of tracks, but
Sure.
I agree. I think Stewart Haas,
I think in general they're one of the weakest big teams, so quote unquote.
to the point where I think they could cut it back to 3 cars.
Wow.
In my personal opinion.
Well, so that begs the question, if we're going to get into that, is this is Kevin Harvick's last year. I mean, how many heavy hitters do you have coming up through the Xfinity? Noah left. Ty Gibbs left.
A lot left this year.
Yeah.
John Hunter Nemechek, but would you put him in the bucket of heavy hitters?
I don't think John Hunter is going to leave Toyota.
I've heard who's that Truck Series guy I'm trying to think of.
Zane
his
Smith.
name's Zane Smith.
Zane
I've heard his
Smith.
name
Zane
thrown
Smith.
around a little bit.
Yeah.
Zane Smith's
But again, you
But
go
how you
back
gonna
to
go
are they a heavy hitter? Who's going to carry the banner for Stewart Haas?
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's a
Tony
big
Stewart
reason.
coming out of retirement.
Yeah, right.
Put
Me in, coach.
I mean, what do you got as the closest option for that on that team?
Well, I think
Briscoe,
you see
currently.
I think they're
But-
putting their money in the bucket of Chase Briscoe because he
Yeah.
signs a multi-year deal last week.
To be fair, look at Briscoe at the end of the year.
money.
Really good.
He
Running.
kept making it, getting
Running
there when
it.
it mattered.
Yeah.
So I mean, maybe Briscoe is going to be their new guy.
He was 100%
you know-
one of the guys I thought would be out in the round of 16, and he
100%.
made it to the round of 8.
I
And I was
completely
like, how?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
wouldn't have called that.
Nope.
No, he
No,
was
I
one of
wouldn't
my
have
first
guessed
out
that.
too. But so I think he's one. But I don't know. There's still a lot up in the air. I feel like even though this is the second year of this car, I feel like it's still a new car in a lot of ways.
Well, in a lot of ways, it is a new car. I mean, so you have the Chevys, which I haven't seen a side-by-side for the Fords or the Toyotas, but I've seen the Chevys, and it's drastically different. I mean, the front nose is going, it's a lot more recognizable to the Gen 6 era.
Yeah.
A lot of the profile and character lines of that car are gone.
Yeah.
Right. So, which means there's a lot less downforce. Now,
Jimmy
how does that play? I mean, I imagine they're doing that obviously on purpose. I mean, I think I agree with DJ. Kyle Busch is likely to go on a tear this year. We all know how he reacts when he's on a mission. He's that guy that can find another gear, especially when he's pissed, right? So I think he's likely to be really good this year.
Could be.
But I also don't see how Hendrick doesn't perform. They're just all 4 drivers won last year, multiple races. I just don't see how they don't come out and win multiple races, each driver again. Bowman's got a new crew chief who's likely to be pretty good. Chase Elliott, Alex Gufferson, they're really good. All them guys have good, solid teams around them. I don't see how they're not a powerhouse again. With Truex looking at retirement, I don't think Gibbs brings the same, and they lost Kyle Busch, so you have a rookie, and you have Truex that's looking at the door. I don't see Gibbs being a powerhouse. So I say Hendrick is probably really good with the addition of Kyle Busch, but I mean, obviously we got a whole new aero package on the Chevy, so we'll see. But I think I agree with you, DJ, man. I'm looking at SHR. wondering where they're going to find speed and where they're going to get really good.
Yeah.
As I mentioned prior, I'm gonna throw my cards in for Ross Chastain. I think he's got the potential to be a championship driver. I think he will at some point in the next couple of years win a championship. I think that he set himself up last year to have a very good year this year, just like he did. Like we mentioned prior, I don't think that anyone's got the gusto or the cojones to do some of the things that he's tried. Even if he doesn't get away with it, he at least tries. And
the part that blows me away with Chastain is he tries things and somehow they all work.
They somehow.
I mean, I don't think there's been too many times where he's tried a move that didn't somehow benefit him in some way.
And even if it doesn't work, he's just like, what are you talking about?
Right, well,
what are you talking about? Like when they mention it after.
What I love about Chastain is he will literally do the things that everybody else thinks about, but don't have the balls to do it.
Yeah,
exactly.
You know, we've seen that at Indy Road Course. We've seen that at Martinsville. Like everybody's thought of the wall ride. Drivers even said they even tested out in the simulation, but nobody had the freaking balls to go out and do it.
Actually do it.
So I just wonder about this year, man. I mean, that just showed to me that, and that's not even a Ross Chastain thing. That's a Trackhouse thing.
For sure.
Mm-hmm.
Trackhouse just thinks outside the box. They're approaching NASCAR Cup racing like no other team. Not just the racing, but the sponsorship and everything. So that's a great point, Jeff. Trackhouse might be really powerful this year.
I think they are.
And I think as far as who's going to struggle, I mean, I agree with the SHR thing for sure. But I think another one is I do not think that I see, at least out of the Penske camp, I don't see Cindric doing much better than he did last year. Maybe
got a long way to go.
Yeah, maybe at the super speedways. But
I mean, Penske's always fast though. They're
always fast.
So Penske's always going to be fast together.
But I mean, as far as like, I just feel like watching last season, I feel like Blaney and Logano were just always in a different class.
Side note, dude, I'll tell you, know who I'm picking for the 500 this year? Bubba. Yeah. This man has come too close. He's too many times close. Like if his car, if he didn't get wrecked out early,
three second time finishes. Second
place finishes. Least two, and I mean, he was close at Talladega last year. I mean, he's
close to the 500.
This dude understands
most of the 500 last year,
usually without front fenders.
But I think, man, I really think he's really put it in the right place at the right time a couple years in a row.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not just Daytona, but at super speedways in general. I think he's struggled at Atlanta a little bit, but it's kind of different.
Mm-hmm.
And new.
But, man, I think, dude, I wouldn't be surprised at all to see Bubba Wallace crossing that line.
He's always up there, man. Like he's always up there. And you see
Inches
the Toyotas
last year.
Yeah, and you see the Toyotas all working together all the time. You even see it in practice. They are like, you know, if you're not a Toyota, get out of my pack.
Yeah,
you know,
they are their own group.
They they work together. They do, you know, and it's just like the Fords. You know, there's so many Chevrolet cars that it's hard to kind of group them together and whatever. But like, you know, the Fords, there's not as many of them. They always stick together. The Toyotas, there's like 5 or 6 of them.
There's 6 now.
Yeah, there's 6 of them.
There's 7 now because they'll have, aren't they? Or there's a third car.
Third car, right?
Are they doing a third car?
Yeah,
500?
third car.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised that didn't turn into a part-time ride throughout the year.
But they definitely.
There's 40 spots in the year.
Yeah.
40 spots in the field for a race, right? So I think throughout the year you'll see that car, just like the Project 91.
Yeah.
I mean, Kurt Busch even said he wants to come back and run some part-time stuff. I wouldn't be surprised if we don't see him at a Coke 600 or some big marquee races.
No,
yeah.
Sure.
Do we see him at a super speedway? Probably not.
I don't think so.
Those wrecks are pretty big. Especially after just coming off an injury. Does he go back to Pocono? Probably not.
Yeah, no kidding.
He's going to never travel to the Pocono ever
but
again.
Pocono has like that turn 1, man. When you lose brakes in turn 1, dude, you don't wreck easy. That is a huge wreck. So, I think if we see Kurt Busch come back, short track stuff probably. But what do you think, Matt?
I'm going to say, hands down, this is the year of Brad. No doubt about it. This is Brad Keselowski's year of fame. He's taking them all the way to the champ.
Dude, RFK was turning around
nasty.
last year.
They had to mess around and mess with stuff. Granted, that was probably one of the only 4 teams that didn't catch on fire at some point. So they figured that out.
Here's the problem with them. God. I think what really killed them was that penalty early on in the season.
It did.
Mm-hmm. If they didn't get that penalty, do we see a significant change?
I don't think it's that, bro. I think this has been a problem with Roush racing for a long time. I mean, you even go back, you listen to like Mark Martin podcast. He talks about Roush not doing what the drivers need. So now you have a driver that's in there making a difference.
Correct.
So even if it's not this year, eventually I don't see
No, it's this year.
RFK not becoming a powerhouse just because they're going to be good, man. I mean, Brad is a great driver.
Yeah.
Oh,
he's a great driver. I think he's going to do really good this year in general. Just in points, managing everything about like the industry and what he needs to do as an owner towards the company. I think he's doing really good. As far as struggling, I see Joe Gibbs kind of on a downfall. You know,
Could be.
That's a good point.
in my personal opinion,
It's hard.
I think it really plays out throughout the season, just depending on what kind of deal they run with Hamlin. I 100% believe Hamlin's staying with Toyota. No doubt in my mind. I just don't know if he'll be racing for Joe Gibbs or his own team. So that is
that all revolves around the FedEx sponsorship.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That
And
is
I heard a number. They
tricky
cut
pickle.
$200 million in marketing budget.
That's crazy.
So that
I
is
would
a
think, I mean, NASCAR is going to be a huge
situation.
chunk of that. If or I should say, NASCAR takes up a huge chunk of their marketing.
Mm-hmm.
So here's something else about Joe Gibbs racing. What about? So they're getting arguably, I would say, probably one of the most hated drivers to come up in recent years. With
Love to hate. Love to hate.
Yeah. So I mean,
Who, Baby Gibbs?
Yeah, Baby Gibbs.
Baby
there
Gibbs.
we go.
Baby Gibbs.
Hey, once he removes the rookies nigga, he'll be back.
But no,
to time.
I mean,
But
like,
he's still Baby
seriously,
Gibbs right now.
but a serious point though about it, like you have him, you have Hamlin, Truex, whatever.
Truex is going to be out.
You have two guys. Those
You
two
think
guys.
he's out this year?
I think he's going to be done.
Oh,
I think he is.
I think he's done.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot
I
of
think
personal
Truex
stuff going on right now. I don't think he's going to. I think he'll have a good year. I don't think he's going to be bad. I think he'll get his 1, maybe 2 wins, but he's not going to be competing.
No,
I think Truex gives me a lot of the vibes that he's the guy that doesn't want to be pulled around and put on a stage. Oh, goodbye. Oh, farewell. I see him pulling a Carl Edwards at the end of the season at Phoenix. This is my last race. I'm out. Boom.
Yeah, 100%.
I just get that vibe from him.
sure.
He's always been kind of quiet. You don't get the same interviews from him or access to him. He's very reserved, which is fine. I mean, I respect that. And I mean, I think
But yeah,
I see him not
I
wanting
think
to be out.
their strongest powerhouse this year is going to be Bell, and I think Bell's going to do good. Don't get me
I think
wrong.
so.
I
But
think
as
so,
a
too.
team standings, I think Joe Gibbs is going to suffer.
They lost.
I think they're going to hurt.
They're losing.
How many
Kyle
motors did
Busch.
they blow last year? How many? What? 2, 3, 4 in the playoffs alone? Like,
They had a lot of problems.
they had a lot of problems, and I don't
think-
know if that was directly related to the engines or just a mishap, or if it was more or less we're allocating resources to one side versus the other. Because at that point, I mean, when Kyle Busch blew his engine, he might have said it was him. He put it in the wrong gear and stuff like that. But I mean, it just don't blow like that. Like they're not just like we're talking about.
Are you saying this is a DEI situation?
I don't know, man. I'm gonna be honest. I don't know, but
Hard
I think with how things played out, they knew Kyle wasn't coming back. They don't want to get Kyle
I think
there.
Kyle Busch
I think it
is
was done.
still
It was done,
in his
man.
prime.
I do.
And,
Oh, yeah.
and
I agree.
losing
I'm
that
super
guy,
happy Kyle Busch is in the 8 car. I'm super happy he's over there. Super happy he's doing all that. I really
I can't
want him
wait
to
to
go
see
on a
what he
tear.
does, man.
I wanna see him go on a
I hope he
tear.
comes out and just blows the door.
Well,
It would
he-
make me a Kyle Busch fan,
even-
and I am not a Kyle Busch
Even
fan,
his
but that would make me a Kyle Busch
persona's
fan.
almost changed. You
little
know,
bit.
to an extent, it's almost more of
I
like
want to know
that.
how those hunting trips went with Austin Dillon. That is the NASCAR news I want to know. Who got the better buck?
No, but you can kind
Who
of
got the
tell.
most points on their buck?
Yeah.
But you can kind of tell his persona's changing. Even in his interviews, like his press conferences and stuff for RCR and stuff like that. You know, they even take a crack at his past with
the whole my watch.
yeah, the
Yeah.
My Watch thing with Richard Childress and stuff. But
Well, I would say we've heard for years people compare the Kyle Busch as the next Dale Earnhardt, right? Everybody said it, the way he
Sure.
wheels the car and all those things, and attitude too, man. I mean, Dale Earnhardt was a don't give a crap kind of guy.
Yeah.
So I think Kyle Busch. I think Kyle Busch rejuvenates and fits the mold well of the RCR. You know, they used to call Dale Earnhardt's team the Junkyard Dogs. You know, and RCR has always kind of carried that mentality of the outsiders. That they're not in the in crowd. They're not in the Joe Gibbs, the Hendricks, the Stuart Haas's. They're their own thing, and they, they win a Daytona 500. They win a Coke 600 every once in a while. You know, but I think Kyle Busch is going to take that team to another level. And I think with this new car, you don't need 4 cars to be fast. Trackhouse showed that last year.
Nope.
You know, I think
all sim.
RCR, the 8 car
Petty
was fast.
Petty GMS.
Petty GMS. I don't think you need 4 cars to be fast anymore. And back to the Stuart Haas thing we were talking about. Who's to say Stuart Haas doesn't go to 3 cars?
Yeah, why not?
You know,
They
and
might.
start. Maybe they sell that charter and
Junior.
get some money.
To Junior, so
Oh God, man!
Well, RCR, one thing
I don't
that's,
want to even be a Hendrick fan anymore. I'm just a Junior fan.
well, one thing that's
Let's go
interesting
Barry.
to me, one thing that's
Right.
interesting to me is that with the RCR, they kind of fit almost like, you know, at least being a 2-car team, they almost do kind of fit that F1 vibe. I read this recently where it's kind of like, you know, you got Kyle Busch, and you know how F1's got like the primary driver and then they have like the secondary driver.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that. It's you got like your primary driver, Kyle Busch, you know, obviously like
Which is not
proven
his
winner,
grandson,
champion,
which is odd.
you know, pretty awesome guy and just whatever. And then you got Austin Dillon, really marketable dude, really solid driver, not like a championship driver or anything, but gets a cup win or two a season, you know, like
Yeah, I've never heard of Austin Dillon struggling to sign a
yeah,
sponsorship.
you know,
no.
Never heard
Never.
of that.
showing us and you know,
He's
like
a very
if you-
sellable, marketable guy.
You look at his numbers and he's not ever terrible, but he's not ever like, you know, what you would consider a front runner.
He is very much above average.
Yeah.
Very.
He's not bad. He's not bad. I mean, there's been plenty. I mean, he's not your next Jeff Gordon. He's not your whatever.
Sure.
I mean, like I said, he's been known to get out there. He won Daytona last year. He's got a Daytona 500. He's got a Coke 600. I mean, he's got some nice wins. I think. I mean, I could definitely see Kyle Busch elevating Austin
His
Dillon
game.
to
Good.
another level, man.
It needs to
I
happen.
agree.
To be honest, it needs to happen in his career. Austin Dillon needs to go
He needs
up.
that guy.
He needs it.
I mean, that's a great point. That RCR has never brought in a veteran guy to mentor Austin Dillon.
Mhm.
And is that Austin Dillon's fault? Imagine if Austin Dillon had a Kevin Harvick on his team from the beginning, or a Kyle Busch, or
Sure.
somebody that could really
Agreed.
mentor him and mature. I mean, Austin Dillon could be a phenomenon.
Mhm.
you
Could
know?
be.
But he's never. I mean, I'm trying to think back. I mean, when has he ever had? I mean, Ryan Newman, but was Ryan Newman that great? I mean, he's good. He's a good driver, but he's not one of the greats.
Sure.
Yeah.
I
Right?
can agree with
I mean,
that.
he has a handful of wins. He's a good driver. He's a respectable driver, but he's never had that kind of great mentorship.
Right.
Makes
yeah.
sense. So what? Okay. So now that we kind of talked about that, what are we looking forward to with the Clash? Like, let's move on to the Clash.
I think it's all gonna be. It's not about aero. It's all about mechanical grip and who can find the most mechanical grip. And I don't see how Penske doesn't come out or Christopher Bell come out and dominate this race, man.
unless Chastain rides every wall.
So I saw, I think it was like NASCAR Cast where somebody posted like if he rides the wall all the way around the whole time, he'll be 22 laps ahead of the field by the end of the race.
Yes.
If the wall will hold up,
That's pretty funny, man.
something
But-
like that. It was
But
something
still,
funny.
Not
I
an
mean,
endurance
like,
race, it's a
so
wall endurance
yeah.
race.
So I mean, what do we think there? So like, let's go with you first. Who would you pick to win?
Ah,
And then
man.
and I'll give you
After only 1 year at the LA Coliseum, it's still hard to pick. But I mean, I have a hard time seeing Kyle Busch not doing good. I see a hard time with Logano not, pulling through again.
I mean, he won the championship. It's short track, similar package.
Yeah.
Obviously, a lot of mechanical grip there.
Sorry.
If he comes out, imagine if he just comes out and wins and says that.
Oh, dude.
He's so funny.
I'd
Lord.
lose it.
Logano, how does it feel to win the? Clash? Short
So
track
who do
racing.
you think is going to be the biggest? I'll give you another follow-up question. Biggest surprise at the Clash?
That's tough. I'm gonna go with.
I don't think we see a surprise at the Clash, honestly.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think
it'd be
anyone's.
not.
I think it'd be the.
I don't
Raiders.
think they're willing to put enough effort into the Clash cars for that one. Because it's not like, it's Daytona. We can prep the car. We can kind of learn some things. It's just like, it's this one track. It's very unique. It's not like any other track we race on the rest of the season.
And it doesn't
So it's kind of-
technically count.
And it doesn't technically count.
money and a trophy.
Well,
Well,
but I mean for the
for-
grand scheme of the championship.
Yeah,
For sure. So it's
100%.
kind of hard
I
to
think it
like
still drives them though. You know.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, it
I
still
mean,
drives
drive
them.
me.
get their feet wet for the season, of course, but it's kind of hard to be like, like I see this person going, balls out for the Clash, you know what I mean? But
okay.
if I had to pick someone that maybe might be a little bit of underdog, I could say Suarez. Suarez was running decent towards the beginning of the Clash. I think if I remember right, he had some kind of issue in the middle of it.
There was several people that got caught up in like 3 and 4 chains of wrecks.
Sure, but
one
like
person bumped one person, hit like 3 other people.
But I mean, specifically the Clash, I thought he did a fairly good job, considering it was a new car and a newer team and stuff like that. But I do think that I wouldn't put him as like a heavy hitter, but even as a whole for the season, I think that you could see Daniel Suarez as well. What about you, Maddie?
Matt.
So taking a quick look at it, I'm expecting someone to be good at the Clash. I think it's going to be Justin Haley. I think he had a lot of potential.
Ooh.
At least last year, he got into the wall with the 5-car Larson, but he was gaining traction. He was gaining speed. I think he's going to be a heavy hitter this year at least.
Okay.
Whether it be in the Clash or whether it be in the regular season, I think he's got a lot of potential, and I think he's going to have a lot of grit to go out there and get something done.
Sure.
For colleague racing. I think it's going to be.
That's also who you think is who's your top pick then? If he's your surprise. For the
That's
Clash.
your surprise?
For the Clash?
Your expectation? Or your
Expectation, I think it's going to be a big guy. I think it's going to be a Penske guy all day. Either Cindric, Blaney. If Blaney came out and win it, I wouldn't be shocked. Going winless all season last year, and then comes out and wins the Clash. Like I think it would be Justice because Blaney had
technically he did win the All-Star race. So.
I know technically.
I mean, not winless, but
I mean, was his window net up?
I mean,
let's talk about that. Side note: I think Blaney's gonna have a really good year. I'm at least expecting it or hoping it to happen. But I could easily see Blaney, Logano, or Cindric to walk away with another Clash win. I think that short track racing is right up all their boats.
I want to talk about what you said, the colleague thing. Obviously, they landed AJ Allmendinger in the Cup Series full time.
Yes.
I don't see. There's no way Haley doesn't take a step up, man. You know what I mean? So, I mean, I think, man, I expect colleague to do. I expect colleague to win this year. I wouldn't be surprised.
100%.
AJ Allmendinger is a monster on the road courses.
Yes.
I don't see how he doesn't make it to the playoffs.
That's what I
And
was
I don't
just
see
thinking
how
too.
Justin Haley doesn't come out and pull one out, especially on super speedways. The dude's
Correct.
he hasn't. I mean, he has the one rain Daytona, but I mean, the dude is always there.
Always there. Always there. I mean, again, right place, right time. And you have to have a little luck in the sport. Let's not get it.
Yeah.
You know, you got to have a little bit of luck when you're on those last final laps.
For sure.
I definitely see either the 31 being a surprise win because he was so good just on the last run, or it being one of the Penske guys.
All right. So my thinking, like if I had to pick one, I'm going to pick Larson to come out the gate for the win. I just think that these smaller tracks just kind of bode well to. I know.
Man, he didn't finish strong though. He struggled at the end of the year.
No, I just have.
I should say struggle. He didn't finish like his normal self.
I was gonna say it's still Larson.
Yeah.
The thing is,
it's still Larson.
I mean, the thing about Larson is, I mean, when you have multiple Formula One guys even voting for you as best driver of the year, then you know for sure that this dude can drive on pretty much anything. We know that, at least in my opinion, from what I've seen, the problem Larson struggles with is he gets demoralized, and when he gets demoralized, he's done. Like that's why
he's like a train off the rails.
Yeah,
he's gone.
It's over.
Yep.
So I think a restart of the season, after having a little bit of rough time, I think give him a break. I think he's going to come back strong. So I think he's going to be strong.
Is that your surprise or you're expecting?
Yes.
I can't tell.
No.
Nice.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I'm picking him for the actual race. My surprise, I honestly don't have anybody that I can really think of specifically that I'm like, oh yeah, they're going to be like, that's who I'm a small one. But just for the sake of, I'm going to go with Bubba.
Bubba, okay.
Bubba,
did he get lapped last year?
With or without his finish?
Listen,
No.
But the thing is, I think maybe that's contradictory to pick Larson and Bubba in the same thing right now, but based off of last year.
Hey, Bubba came a long way by the end of the year.
But Bubba, actually, I was gonna say, by the
decent.
end of the year, he's turned out to actually.
Bro, them mile and a half tracks, Bubba might show up, and now he's got Tyler Reddick, bro, and you might get the occasional Kurt Busch. Show up.
Man.
Well,
Bro, I expect a lot of that 2311 this year.
They
You
might,
got a multi-winner
I think you
last
have
year
to.
with Rendick, Reddick, and you got a winner last year with Bubba, man.
If
like
you see
23-11, if they don't show up with like multiple wins each driver, they're not hitting the mark.
Did you call
correct.
him Tyler Redneck?
Redneck.
I was like, what the heck,
That
bro?
whiskey me slur my words a little bit.
if you jump in and compare, like, say, 2311 versus Trackhouse, I mean, what did
Who do you expect more from?
I would
do I-
expect more from 2311,
Same.
but
Yeah.
given what has been shown, Trackhouse outperformed them almost in every way,
I think that's
Yeah.
the
which
way
is
to look at
shocking
it.
to me.
But
Because-
I mean, Suarez only has 1 win last year.
Right, but so did Bubba.
True.
Okay,
True.
and then let's jump
Well, I'm
on
saying, like,
Kurt.
what-
They ain't
Kurt
got
had
no one
win,
riding walls,
right?
bro.
Suarez did have some
Let's
fast
jump
ones.
over from, let's say, Kurt to Ross Chastain. Ross Chastain finished second in the whole season, like
Yeah, I mean, you're
competing
absolutely
for
right
the
there.
win. Like,
You're absolutely right.
apples
Yeah.
to oranges here. Like, they're just in two different levels. I don't know if that's a manufacturer. I don't know if that's skill. I couldn't tell you. But what I'm saying is I'm expecting a lot more out of 2311
Well, okay.
this year alone.
One thing with 2311, just
have
to
They
give them a
have
little
to.
bit of grace. I don't want to give them too much, but a little bit with the whole Kurt Busch thing happening. They threw Ty Gibbs in there, and you know that they were like, "Look, you ain't got to like go balls out, like just get
Right,
out
and
there
I
and
get that.
compete."
I think
For
that's
sure.
an
So
understanding.
I think that, to be fair, that team wasn't being pushed as hard as they normally would be had like Kurt Busch been in there.
But I mean, you had Bubba jumping from number to number. I didn't know what
that's
merch
what-
to buy. I was confused. I don't think anyone knew between
1 week
track
it's
to
McDonald's
race.
Black, the next is Monster Black, or McDonald's Red, Monster Black.
I mean, yeah, I was all confused.
I
They
don't
won-
even know who
they won-
sponsored who at this point.
They won 2 races in the year at the same track. Congrats. It was very odd. It was an
Yeah.
odd year for 2311 to say the least.
Agreed.
And I
Well,
just expect a lot more.
I'm just gonna say,
I
I
hope they have a lot more to offer this year.
thought it was a little like strange. Maybe I hate to use the word embarrassing, but in my opinion, it would have been embarrassing if I were Bubba. But like to be in Bubba's position and then to have Ty Gibbs come in and kind of outrace him a little bit in some capacities, it's just like, come on, man.
How much-
You've been
how
around.
I mean, I don't know though. It just depends on like the crew. I think this car matters so much on how the crew chief comes and sets up the car and what you're getting into. Very limited practice time, and it's kind of you got to run what you got, and it is what it is, man. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know that I put so much of that on the driver. I think the driver only makes up a couple of positions now. I don't think he makes up the whole race as much. I mean, it's been like that for 20 years,
Yeah.
Yeah, true. That's true.
if not longer.
Real
sure.
quick, just so as we'll wrap up this a little bit. What are the coolest things or the most exciting news you had in the off season? One topic, Jake. One topic.
Anything or racing?
Racing.
Oh.
Yeah. What was the one
Jimmy
thing?
Johnson coming back to run a 500. I don't think anything has me as excited about this year as seeing Jimmy
Yes, sir.
Johnson. We'll be there. We'll be at the 500. Almost everybody that we hang out with will be there, except for DJ. He's lame. You know.
We did just have a second kid. Okay.
Whatever, man. Hey, I mean, you just show up the next day after you got home from the hospital for the podcast. That's pretty
That
good.
is true. I had to make sure we kept the timeline.
But no, I mean, I think Jimmy Johnson getting involved with the now Legacy Motor Club, as Corey LaJoy says it. But I think I really think that team might make some big steps in the right direction. You got a heavy hitter veteran in your ranks. I just think about morale in that team and swag. And you got Noah Gregson, which again, this car drives way different, but I don't see that team will be good.
Gregson's got some next gen experience too.
He does,
A little bit.
but he admittedly ran that car very under, and didn't push it at all because he was scared of getting hurt and ruining his chance at the Xfinity
Xfinity
Championship.
Championship.
Yeah. Which makes sense. I mean, I get that.
But I'm definitely most excited for Jimmy Johnson running the 500.
Jimmy.
I mean, it just takes me back. That's super exciting.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Jeff, what's your one thing?
Me growing up a Jimmy guy, that was gonna be mine
All right,
too.
pick another one.
But
Sorry.
another one.
Jake beat you to it.
No. But another one that I think is even a little bit heavier than that is, of course, Kevin Harvick retiring. Just making this his last season. Jake and I were talking with a friend of ours outside, Nate, and we were talking about the Dale movie. We were talking about the Dale movie, and it just really puts that into perspective, and it really displays the heaviness of that loss and how crazy that was. And for Harvick being Dale's replacement and coming all this way and winning championships and winning races and all this and that, and having that RCR kind of attitude, for him to retire, it's kind of like, man, he's been racing since I started watching, 20 years ago or something like that.
Oh, jeez.
Damn it.
We have a drink down.
No.
That's
Drink
expected.
down.
The IPA.
I think it's crazy too. This is
But yeah, for
Harvick's
real.
22nd season.
22?
Not 22. 20. I know we're a wreck here.
Slurp
Spilling
up.
beers, slurring words. Yeah, we might drink a little bit on this podcast.
You.
But I think
Drink responsibly, everybody. Drink responsibly.
basically almost 22 full-time seasons. He'll be just a couple short of it because he replaced Earnhardt.
Yeah.
After the 500.
I think my most exciting news is jumping over to ARCA and seeing Frankie Muniz.
Bro, I totally forgot about that.
Bro,
Yes.
I knew you were. That's why I was glad you didn't say
No,
it.
I
But no, I think that's going to be really exciting for the ARCA series.
I think you
We're
draw a lot
always
of
there.
eyes
We
with that.
watch it. I think it's going to.
Did you just say the Arca Syria?
I did.
I'm gonna call. I
Like
just
I
want you
said,
to know
we've been drinking a little bit.
throughout the whole podcast, I'm just gonna call y'all out on
So
random
I think it's going to bring a lot of attention to the ARCA series.
Much needed attention.
Hopefully,
Do we
it
want
brings a
people
little
to
bit
have
more.
attention on the ARCA series, though?
Hopefully,
Absolutely.
it brings
I
a
mean,
little bit more.
I hope it's good attention.
Driving skill and a little bit more.
Why not?
More eyes, more people watching, a little bit more respect in the raceway.
Mhm.
But I think with Muniz coming on in, that's gonna be top notch for that series.
Yeah.
Kind of a bigger name, more sponsorship, more selling. You could sell just on that alone because he's done great stuff in the past.
Yeah. So for
What about
me,
you, man?
I hate to say this, it was definitely Jimmy. But my reason for Jimmy wasn't so much like I'm obviously excited for Legacy Motor Club and all that stuff. But my thing was,
Yeah, say it right. I love the way Corey always says it.
oh,
Legacy
I'm sorry,
Motor
Legacy
Club.
Motor Club. Sorry, but no, my thing is I always felt really bad that Jimmy, I feel like, never got a fair send off in the sense that he went out just just a shell of what he can do. Went out, did not have good years as he was ending. And
Man, I feel like them last couple of years, it was not him.
It was
rough.
something
I
about
feel
that
it's not.
car.
And
That's when I started watching. So I understand the Jimmy Johnson legacy. I just wasn't a part of it.
Bro, you should have been there for
So-
5 straight. It was obnoxious.
It's hard for me to look back and say, "Oh yeah, Jimmy Johnson's gonna wreck this year," because I saw Jimmy Johnson on the radio say, "I don't know how to fix this."
Obviously, being a Jimmy
So-
guy, I was not going to complain about 5 straight, but it did get to a point where it was almost like Jimmy winning the championships, almost like the Patriots winning the Super Bowl. It's kind of just like, oh yeah, it's kind of to be expected,
I think back to the Jimmy thing. Jimmy was good all the way up, really, until they did the high downforce package, and then I just don't think he could figure it out. Which it makes you wonder: how's he going to? They got pretty low downforce, so he might be all right in this new car.
he might.
Yeah.
I hope he comes back, and I just hope it's not a situation where he just, kind of like what Hamill was saying, and it tarnishing their legacy.
But I
hope
think you
it's
got to
not
set
that.
your expectations real. Is he going to be crazy, or is he going to be? I don't think he's going to come out and set the world on fire. It's too hard. You hear people like Dale Jr. talks about even coming back to the Xfinity series in 6 months or a year in between races. Everything has changed so much. He's way behind the 8 ball. So imagine the Cup Series has got to be
He's got a lot of
infinitely more complicated. So
Yeah.
for sure.
No, I think that's. But I'm excited for him to try to at least kind of maybe specifically for some newer fans, because you got to figure like for example our friend Nate, he just hears stories of
yeah, he's never even seen Jimmy.
no, not the real Jimmy, and
No.
so it'd be
No,
nice.
not even, because Nate became a fan last year, so he's never even
Oh,
seen
that's
Jimmy
true.
race.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
But even still, anyone that's a fairly a newer-ish fan to NASCAR, anybody that's here, they never really saw Jimmy, and it'd be nice for to
For
be
sure.
like, man, that dude can drive. It'd be nice to get that back and go out on a higher note. So that's
Oh, yeah.
kind of why I
Agreed.
like that one. All right, you guys got anything else you want to talk about? We've been talking for a while.
No,
been a
I guess
minute.
final thoughts. Our podcast is gonna be pretty laid back. We're just gonna kind of talk about what we see during the race. Plan is to record immediately after the race. We may have some weeks that we can't do that. For instance, we'll all be at Daytona, hanging out. But yeah,
I mean, I could do a podcast by myself. But it's
by
probably-
yourself.
Yeah, just, hey
A
guys,
solo podcast.
This is me sitting here in my house by myself because Everyone else is at the race.
Yeah. Our plan is to rotate some people. Obviously, you know, with life and everything, like I said, we're very casual. So not all of us will make it all the time. Our families are super important. So there'll be times we'll be rotating. Our goal is to always have 4 people. But yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. You guys have anything closing out you guys want to say?
No, just looking forward to this whole podcast journey. This is something we've been talking about for.
Been a while.
Coming up on a year at least. Like we've been talking about this for a long time. We should start podcasts. We should start podcasts.
I think last year we almost did it.
We almost did it, but we were like, no, we were gonna do it towards. It was probably the last quarter of the season.
I don't remember.
And we were like,
we talked about it like a year ago.
And we were like, nah, let's just wait until like around Clash time, and then we'll start it. So, which is right now. So, super excited for what this is.
I mean, at the end of the day, no matter who we bash on, no matter who we
they probably
glorify, at the end of the day, we're all just for racing friends. We go to the races when we can, and in the end, we're all just really here for the speed. There's not much more to it. We're here just to watch a good race.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we all have people we can root for at all different times. So fortunately, if our driver wrecks, we can pick up backup.
Exactly. I made a vow not to have one driver.
We picked 4 drivers at Daytona. We still run out of drivers.
How many times has like one driver wrecked out and you just see fans get up and leave the race? Like, nah, man, you got to be there for the race, enjoy the race, be there for the whole experience. So yeah, that's a little bit of more or less why we root for so many people, or how many people will put on a pedestal versus bash, because it's like, you're just there for a good race. You're there for the sport and everything.
For sure.
Absolutely.
That's a wrap. I've been waiting to tell y'all this for 3 months. It's race week, baby.
Let's do it.
Let's go.
Get ready for the Clash.
We'll see y'all next week. Well, maybe not next week.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah, we'll make it happen. Clash next week. Okay, we're all right.
Oh, yeah.
Whatever. See ya.